What's up everyone? Welcome to this week's mindset video, and I'm excited about this one because it's come up multiple times throughout this week. And I don't know if you realized it, but January 15th is the worldwide date to celebrate when most people's New Year's resolutions fail. And when I say fail, they pretty much no longer exist, all right? They're no longer doing what they needed to do in order to achieve the result. They've given up, they've got distracted, they've created a whole bunch of new stories, and they are no longer continuing to achieve what they set out to with the energy and enthusiasm when they set their New Year's resolutions. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is the reason why that happens to so many people. And it's probably something that maybe you haven't thought of from this perspective before. And I'll give you some context, right? For me, I have some big goals this year. I have some things that I want to achieve with the business. I have some things I want to achieve for my clients, for me as an individual, for my children, for everything in my life. And one of the things I realized a long time ago is that for things to change, first I must change, right? And it's one of my favorite quotes. It's in my book. I absolutely love it. But it's more than that. If you want to create change in any area of your life, you have to realize that everything that you learned to date and the mindset that you currently have, the languaging that you currently use, the actions that you're currently taking have led you to this point, right? And I think Einstein said it the best, is that you can't solve the current problems you have with the same mindset that created those problems. I hope that makes sense to you, right? Like if you're in a position right now, and from my perspective, with your health, with your weight, with your self-confidence and level of self-worth, with your training, your consistency, your level of discipline with what it is that you're trying to stick to and achieve. The reason why you haven't been able to create change is because you're focusing on all the external things. You're focusing on all the things I talked about last week, adding on top, and you're not spending the time removing or taking away the things that are in your way. And one of the biggest things that you've got to look at in any change that you're trying to make is what thought pattern and then what actions that followed those thought patterns led me to this current problem or result that I don't like. All right, and so many people started the new year and they got excited and they bought all of these clothes and they got all these supplements and they spent all of this money on food, right? And they did all of the external things because they were enthusiastic, they were excited. This is the year I'm going to do it. But then a couple of things came up. Work got busy. I was tired. I'm stressed, or it's too far to go, or it's dark, or it's wet outside, or it's cold, and I just haven't got there. And I set out that I was going to train 4 times, 5 times a week, and I've trained once in, what are we now, almost 3 weeks of this month. And that happens because externally you're excited, you want to do all of these things, you want to achieve all of this, you want to commit to it all. But internally, you're still having the same conversations. You still have the same mindset, which then still leads to the same level of action taking, the same level of commitment, the same level of discipline. Because you didn't change anything, right? You got excited and you thought you would add all of these things because you're going to do it now because you're motivated, but you didn't change anything inside. You didn't change the internal drivers that create the end outcome. And again, think about it, right? In order to change your current problem or your current outcome or result, you can't do that with the same thinking that created that problem in the first place. All right, and I shared with you that I had big goals for this year. So I sat there last week and I was looking at a few different challenges I could create for myself, different programs, different masterminds, different books, different, like I've done lots of different things. I've done 75 Hard and similar things like that before, and I've done lots of different programs, and I found a 30-day challenge that I committed to yesterday morning, which already has taken 5.5 hours of my time since yesterday. And I could look at that and go, well, it's 5.5 hours of my time. It's a minimum of an hour of my time every single day to work on my mindset, to work on my languaging, to work on my self-discipline in all areas of my life. It's quite intense. But I realized for me to achieve these end goals, I have to go inside first. I have to change, all right, what's led me to this point, right? Because what's led me to this point is not what's going to lead me to where I want to go, right? In order to go forward, I need to look at a new set of tools. I need to look at how I can sharpen my sword even more and how I can then generate the momentum I need to bring that end outcome to life, right? Because the mindset will drive the actions. The belief system will drive the mindset, right? And I've talked about this in many different videos. If you haven't watched my video on creating change, and I go through each of those steps and show you how to practically create lasting change in any area of your life, go back and find that video on this page. All right, so if you're sitting here now and you haven't achieved your goal, you said all of these things that you were enthusiastic to do, you've made a week and then suddenly shit got hard and you're starting to slip backwards and you're out socializing again and it's okay, I let the weekend blow out and I suddenly ate more calories in 3 days than I ate for the entire week. All right, it's so easy to do. And you've got to take stock of that and understand that, okay, until my new habit, these new thought patterns, this new mindset is set in place, I have to be disciplined. I have to look at what areas need to change, and then I have to be able to gain the awareness, at least to the point that if I'm starting to drift, is that in line with where I want to go, or is that in line with what created the problem in the first place? Right? Because as soon as you gain that awareness, you now have the power to make a choice. I have the power to make a choice to allow that, right? And to continue with what created the problem in the first place. Or I can go, do you know what? Like, I can still socialize without eating that stuff. Do you know what? I could fast. I could literally go to that thing and not eat, right? I could have a couple of drinks and do it guilt-free. I can get up in the morning and I can work out. I can fit in my 4 to 5 days a week no matter when it is. I can invest in myself. I can find the money. I can find the time. Right? I can commit the energy that I need to in order to build the discipline to create momentum which will drive the end result. And until you're willing to realize that what's going on outside is directly connected to what's driving you internally, nothing's going to change. You'll blame things and you'll get pissed off at other people and you'll say that, you know, so-and-so did that, so it made me not want to do that, and works like this, so that's why I can't do that. And then the stories will come back in again, and then you'll have all the justifications you need to feel fat in 3, 4, 5 months' time, or unhappy, or whatever it is for you. I know that sounds harsh, but trust me, I hear this stuff every single day, and yet people still hold on to thinking that if I do the same things, I'm going to create a different outcome. If I maintain the same thinking, the same self-conversation, the same mindset, the same actions, that somehow, miraculously, that's going to lead me to an end result that I want. Like, it just doesn't make sense, does it? But yet, it's a default human behavior. And it's literally why 15 days after most people set a New Year's resolution, they fail and stop. And for me, the word fail means that they gave up, right? They no longer were willing to try. That's my definition of failure, all right? Because there's always a way. It's just whether you're willing to work long enough to find your way or a way that you know can work. So if you're sitting here now and you're wondering, what do I do to create the change, right? First step, go internally, all right? Start looking at what's led you to where you are now. Try and gain the awareness of what those things are that have compounded over time with your thinking, with your actions, with your lack of actions, with your excuses and your stories that you've held on to for so long that are now keeping you where you are, right? Once you gain awareness around that and you're clear on what those things are, what's the opposite, or what's a new set of actions, self-conversations, mindsets, beliefs, different things that you can own that will lead you to what you want. And it's not hard, right? Eat less, train more, talk to myself better, get up when I don't want to, do the things that I need to do when nobody's watching and I get no pat on the back. All of those things will lead to an end result. And that's not getting into strategy and how to lose fat and gain muscle and any of that stuff. That's the basics. And if you can't own the basics yet, and you're trying to do everything else and you're still operating with the same mindset and everything that created the problem in the first place, frustration, overwhelm, nothing works for me, this is crap, I'm no good, all of that stuff starts coming up to the surface again, which sucks, right? It doesn't feel nice and it doesn't help you feel any better. So realistically, it's simple. You want to create a different outcome, look at what you need to do in order to change. Look at all the aspects around you and what you do that need to change. And then just commit to the change. And it starts with a single step. It starts by reaching out to somebody like me for help. It starts by getting up in the morning. It starts by getting there even when you don't want to get there. It starts by getting the workout in when you don't want to get the workout in, creating the food when you don't want to create the food, tracking what you need to when you don't want to do it, right? That's how it starts. And it's just one step at a time. And I tell my clients this every single day. Own the day, win the day, right? Because every day that you win compounds over time. It allows you to gain momentum. And what seemed like this huge gap to be able to go from where you are now to where you want to go suddenly seems so much smaller and so much more attainable, because I'm not trying to eat the elephant in one bite. I'm just taking it down chunk after chunk after chunk, right? And I'm making it simple. I'm making it easy. There's no overwhelm. There's no doubt. There's no fear. There's no uncertainty. There's just an unwavering commitment to own the day. And if you can do that for yourself, man, nothing is going to stop you from achieving what you want this year. And if I can be a part of that journey in any way, shape, or form, message me and let me know, because for me personally, this is what I love to do. I love to help people create change and do it in a way where it's lasting change, not this superficial stuff that lasts for 28 days and 6 weeks, and then suddenly you're back in the same cycle, creating the same set of problems that you didn't want in the first place. All right. I hope you got a lot from that video, and as always, reach out to me if I can help, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week.